two, along with frequently asked questions and the PowerPoint and everything that we present to you today. So, good afternoon. My name is Bill Sarbuck. I'm the supervisor here in the Office of Apprenticeship and Work-Based Learning. And welcome to our technical assistance workshop for our growing growing apprenticeship in non-traditional sectors gains grant round two. For those of you who have not applied for gains in the past, we're going to get into a little bit about what our registered apprenticeship is. We'll also get into the expectations of an application, uh, how much funding is available, and all that stuff. We'll also start speaking to you a little bit about the process for beginning the application if you are interested in continuing to apply after we've presented this information to you. So we'll get into all that here in a few minutes. Um, but for those of you who have applied for gains or are familiar with our gains grant, we actually did do a round one for growing apprenticeship in non-traditional sectors this fiscal year. It just started. The grantees just started on February 1st. That's an 18-month grant program. We gave out a little bit under $5 million, just short of $5 million in that round, 13 recipients. So we're hoping to have at least that, if not more, interest this round. Um, we had 38 applicants the first round. Of the 38, only 13 were awarded based on the availability of $5 million. We have a little bit more than that available this round, so I'm hoping to give out a little bit more, maybe have a couple of additional grantees. So we'll get started here with our presentation on the grant that's available, this notice of grant opportunity for the fiscal year 24 round two, growing apprenticeship in non-traditional sectors, round two grant. So in March of 2018, not the March of 2018, March of 2018, Governor Murphy announced the development of the first Office of Apprenticeship here in New Jersey, as well as the creation of a New Jersey Apprenticeship Network, the Office of Apprenticeship being a part of that New Jersey Apprenticeship Network. Uh, this office did not exist here at the Department of Labor in the past. The idea of this unit is to expand on the usage of funding through the Department of Labor to enhance the availability of registered apprenticeship programs across the state, both new and old registered apprenticeship programs. Our mission here in the Office of Apprenticeship is to build the New Jersey Apprenticeship Network, which is, as I said before, we're a part of that apprenticeship network. All of our grantees are a part of that apprenticeship network. USDOL is a part of it, as well as any other providers of registered apprenticeship programs. So the Office of Apprenticeship works closely with the United States Department of Labor and serves as the one-stop shop for employers, nonprofits, secondary and post-secondary institutions that are interested in developing apprenticeship opportunities. We support new and expand on existing pre-apprenticeship and USDOL registered apprenticeship programs in New Jersey. Key being in New Jersey, we are concentrated on employers in New Jersey and participants in New Jersey only. We establish pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs in non-traditional high-growth occupations and sectors. Within the Notice of Grant Opportunity, you'll see we have a listing of those types of occupations and sectors in which we are highly motivated to try and find registered apprenticeship programs within. You'll see that and we'll get into that in a little more detail further into this presentation. We are looking to better align secondary, post-secondary, adult education, and occupational training to meet the labor demands unique to New Jersey and develop career pathways that lead to economically sustainable wages. I think one of the things that gets missed in the registered apprenticeship model is that it's industry driven. So the employers are the ones who are kind of telling us and telling you guys what it is they want these individuals trained in and how they need to be skilled up in order to be qualified for the types of jobs that they're looking to fill. And I think that that is a key in this model, is that we're always working towards providing participants with the skills they need in order to meet the demands of the employers that are looking to hire them out there, rather than just providing them with curriculum that's developed by an educational model that doesn't necessarily always align with what the employer's needs are. So that's a very big part of what we're trying to accomplish here. We work to help apprentices earn college credits, access to robust career counseling, and increase diversity and inclusion in apprenticeship programs. We strongly suggest that you target populations in need and populations in which struggle to find skills that are in specific types of careers. And that's part of um, the process here with your applications that you would want to make sure you're detailing. And we work to remove economic barriers to training and upskilling through targeted investments. Those investments would include grants like our Gains grant. So what is a registered apprenticeship? A registered apprenticeship program means it's registered and approved by the United States Department of Labor and provides classroom and on-the-job training in an occupation recognized as an apprenticeable trade, meets the program standards of enrollment and graduation under 29 CFR 29.6. So that's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo, but ultimately, um, a registered apprenticeship program is a program that is registered and approved by the United States Department of Labor. If you don't already have a registered apprenticeship program established here in New Jersey, you should reach out to USDOL and get that process started before applying for this grant. I will suggest to you that at the very minimum, we are always looking to ensure that you've had at least contact with USDOL and are in the process of getting a program started and approved by USDOL. It doesn't mean that you have to have a registered apprenticeship program already completed and ready to go in order to apply. That is not the case, but you should have had contact and started the process before you've applied for this grant. It really does help and benefit you as the applicant. The components of a registered apprenticeship program are the employer or the industry involvement. That's what we were talking about a little while ago. The related technical instruction, which is our classroom learning. Those are the hours of instruction that you receive sitting in a classroom and receiving training. Then there's the sponsor or the employer who's responsible for providing that on-the-job learning, which is work that you're getting paid for while you're learning. The apprentice, who's the participant, and then progressive wage structure for skill gains. What that means is as the apprentice is becoming more valuable to the employer increases their wages to show that value. Obviously, in the beginning, the level of expertise or knowledge of those apprentices is going to be low. So the expectation is that they'll start at their lowest payment or pay rate. But as time goes on and work through the registered apprenticeship program, the expectation is they become more valuable to that employer, and that employer shows that value by increasing their wages. The benefits of a registered apprenticeship program. So the benefits are twofold. They are to the employers and the employer market, and to the apprentices. For employers, those benefits include a reduced turnover, increased worker productivity. It builds on a company's skill base. It creates a pipeline of skilled workers and a succession plan for any of those workers that are um, aging out of the industry or working towards retirement. It gives you that ability to backfill those positions, and it creates quality standards that are established by that employer. So that employer is training those participants, those apprentices, the way they want them trained and the way they anticipate having them work within their company. The other added benefit that's not listed here for employers, in my opinion, is it's a quick way to increase their work abilities. So if you're in an industry where you can make more money by having more employees, and you're having trouble finding skilled workers or skilled workers that are going to do the job the way you guys as a company are really looking to try and ensure that they're being provided, registered apprenticeship adds that benefit of allowing you to bring people in without the skills, maybe some transferable skills, but not specifically in your field, and to train them up, start them at a lower rate, and work your way up to increase your number of employees, therefore increase your ability as a company to make money in the long run. So that is another benefit that isn't necessarily listed here to employers. For apprentices, the key benefits are hands-on career training. They develop relationships with their employer. They increase future earning potential, and they receive a national credential at the end of the training program that can be brought with them to any state in the United States and be recognized. There's a couple of models for a registered apprenticeship program. The first model is what we consider our traditional employer model. And where this is the employer is the sponsor. So you're an employer, you own a business, You work with USDOL in order to get your registered apprenticeship program developed and approved. You work with the New Jersey Office of Apprenticeship with us to provide with funding through Gains for technical for the Gains program, and for us to provide you with that technical assistance to help you guide you through the process of getting these registered apprentices through the program. Uh, they also then would partner with a related technical instruction provider. Sometimes that is the employer, but other times they use secondary or post-secondary providers, whether it be vocational schools, online training providers, anything like that. That classroom learning is just that. It is training. It's hands off training. It's reading through a book. Maybe there might be some small group things that are done where you might do a little bit of hands-on, but it's not going to be on the job. It'll be in a classroom setting. And then the final part of this model is the apprentice themselves. The apprentice is hired from day one by that employer while they're going through that related technical instruction and that on-the-job training. The other model that exists is called our workforce intermediary model. And what a workforce intermediary is, it's a middleman or a middle company or agency who works with USDOL and the Office of Apprenticeship to get get funding and to get their program approved. But then they have multiple employers that they're working with in order to place these individuals. So they don't hire any of the individuals. They kind of just become the middleman between USDOL and the employers so that they collect all the data and do all the reporting to USDOL. They would still have to partner with an RTI provider, that provider of that classroom instruction, and they would still have obviously the apprentices who would not be directly employed by that workforce intermediary, but directly employed by those employers that they are partnering with as an intermediary. So this model is a little more involved, as you can tell, but it does allow for a provider, a sponsor, and what is what we call them, to find multiple employers within an industry that are in need and place their registered apprentices within those multiple employers. What we're going to provide you here is some figures on where New Jersey is right now when it comes to registered apprenticeship. So the current figures are that currently there are 8,712 active apprentices in the state of New Jersey. By the word active, that means that they are actively working towards completion of a registered apprenticeship. They're registered with USDOL and they are employed by these employers. There are 1,306 total registered programs in the state of New Jersey. Since Governor Murphy took office in January of 2018, New Jersey's registered 695 new registered apprenticeship programs, which is over 100% statewide increase. That we've hired 17,391 new apprentices and issued 8,829 new industry recognized certifications of completion. According to the data from the last quarter of 2017, total apprentices increased by approximately 1,929 apprentices. It's the highest level in New Jersey since 2013 and equates to a growth trend of 28% net statewide in active registered apprentices. So as you can see, the programs that we provide here through the New Jersey Department of Labor have assisted in increasing the ability for employers to utilize this registered apprenticeship model and to fill positions that they may have struggled to fill otherwise. So one of the populations that you can target if you're interested in is those with disabilities, those who are working with our vocational rehabilitation services here at the Department of Labor. It is not mandated or required that you work with this population, but it is a population that you can work with. If you are interested in working with this population, what this slide here is here for is to inform you of some of the individuals that work for the Department of Labor that might be able to assist you with information on how to work with this population. So the New Jersey Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Service, we call it DVRS. It's a state agency that provides services to enable eligible individuals with disabilities to achieve employment outcomes consistent with their strengths, priorities, needs, abilities, and capabilities. The department encourages applications from organizations who will focus on placing DVRS qualified individuals in the registered apprenticeship programs. DVRS Business Outreach Team assists employers to strengthen their businesses and enhance career opportunities for individuals with disability. DVRS works collaboratively with employers and labor and workforce associates to provide talent acquisition solutions for businesses. So they can help with those partnerships with employers, possibly if you are an intermediary. Examples of some of the essential services that are provided by DVRS include disability awareness training, assistive technology presentations and awareness, Americans with Disability Act considerations, targeted hiring events, and many more. If you're interested in any additional information, then you can email the DVR admin at dol.nj.gov, and a business outreach team representative will be in contact with you. I cannot tell you how long it takes for them to get in touch with you because ultimately this is not a part of the Office of Apprenticeship, but you can reach out to them and email them, and they will hopefully get back to you in a short turnaround. So now I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Al Nixon, who's going to speak to you a little bit more about growing apprenticeship in non-traditional sectors and the application process itself. Al?
Yep. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, GAIN stands for the Growing Apprenticeships in Non-Traditional Sectors, and the mission of this grant program is to increase statewide capacity for registered apprenticeship opportunities by offsetting training and educational costs for businesses, especially in high-growth industry clusters. Grant funds can be used for items such as related technical instruction, which we refer to as RTI, on-the-job training wage, which is OJT, reimburse or no JT wage reimbursement support, sorry. Program management costs and supportive services to encourage apprentice participation. Gains aims to promote increased diversity and inclusion in apprenticeship programs by encouraging recruitment from specific populations. Those populations are DBRS qualified candidates, which Bill just went over, dislocated workers, women, members of a minority group, youth, post-secondary students, county vocational school participants, people with disabilities, veterans, recipients of state or federally funded programs, and the reentry population. Next slide. Nope, sorry. Okay. The GAINS program was designated to not only expand the capacities of the existing registered apprenticeship programs, but also implement the apprenticeship training model, apprenticeship training model in other industry sectors that typically do not have apprenticeship programs. Can everybody make sure that they're muted, please? Registered apprenticeships have a long-standing track record in the construction and building trades and have proven to be an effective model of training. As such, we hope other industries will see the benefits of these programs and adopt the apprenticeship model. With that in mind, there are a number of high-growth industry sectors that we are hoping to expand registered apprenticeships in. These sectors are advanced manufacturing, biopharma, life sciences, energy, utilities and infrastructure, retail, hospitality and tourism, financial services, insurance, transportation, logistics and distribution, information technology and cybersecurity, green jobs, renewable energy, healthcare, construction and building trades, public service, educational services, early childhood education, and other science, tech, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM related sectors. This does not mean that your proposal has to be in one of these clusters, but applications in those clusters will be looked upon more favorably. Funding funding for fiscal year 24 round 2 is expected to be $6 million and is contingent upon available funds. Fiscal year 24 round 2 applicants applications are open to those who are not funded in fiscal year 24 round one, as well as new applicant. Uh,
That
and
actually is no longer, we no longer have that restriction.
oh,
So
I am sorry.
you are eligible to apply if you were a fiscal year round one recipient.
Oh, sorry.
No, no
Okay,
worries.
and the contracts are anticipated to be for an 18-month period. Before we get into the funding incentives, it is important to take note that if you are interested in starting a registered apprenticeship program, the very first thing you should do is have a conversation with your USDOL apprenticeship training representative. They will walk you through the process of registering your program and help you determine if registered apprenticeship is a good fit for your organization based on your needs. Once you have had that conversation, please mute people.
I think
Once you have had
everybody
that,
is muted.
oh, I keep
I,
getting a back echo.
yeah, I think everybody is muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, they will walk you through the process of registering your program to help you determine the registered parent's best fit for your organization. Once you have had that conversation and started the process of creating a program, then the Gains Grant can assist with funding. When our panel evaluates proposals, that is one of the first things that we look at. Has the conversation with the USDL happened, and where is the applicant in registration process? So how does Gains help with funding? The Gains grant offers funding to offset some of the initial costs associated with starting and operating a registered apprenticeship program. Of the funding categories and options, we first we first offer OJT, on the job training wage support. This means that once an apprentice is registered in your program and hired, we can reimburse up to 50% of their wages at no more than 40 hours per week for 52 weeks. With this incentive, the apprentice must be paid at a rate no lower than $17 an hour. The maximum OJT reimbursement budget per apprentice cannot exceed $12,000. You do not have to include OJT reimbursement into your budget, but if you do, those were the parameters. For RTI, which is the related technical instruction support, again, this cost can be reimbursed once the apprentice has registered with the USDOL and hired at a wage no lower than $17 per hour. You can request in your budget the anticipated cost of RTI related expenses or a portion, whatever the needs of your business. Again, you are not required to include this incentive in your budget. Those are just the parameters for the funding if you choose to. For some other stipulations of this grant, one, focus on expanding registered apprenticeship in non-traditional occupation areas or sectors. However, your program must be from the USDOL approved list of apprenticeable occupations. We can provide you with a link to the list of approved occupations in the chat box. The reasoning behind this is the occupations from the existing list are much quicker to receive approval from the USDOL than creating a brand new occupational training program with limited time in the contract. That is why we opt for this option. If awarded a grant, your first class of apprentices should be registered with the USDOL within the first 6 months of the anticipated 18-month contract. This should allow you enough time to finalize approval of your training program with USDOL, recruit, and register the apprentices. Another thing to keep in mind is NJDOL funding is seed money. A sustainability plan is required to outline resources in place to continue your registered apprenticeship program without the support of this grant. Lastly, when you are building your budgets, keep in mind that the maximum allowable cost per head is $12,000. That means all budget items are added together and you divide by the total number of how many individuals you're serving. The results should be $12,000 or less. An example would be a grant for $120,000 should serve a minimum of at least 10 apprentices to meet that threshold.
So hopefully that point is clear. There's another bullet here that I want to make sure I touch on a little bit more, which is the front-loaded RTI. So what front-loaded RTI is training that is provided, classroom training that's provided before the apprentice is placed with an employer. Gaines does not, we will not fund any front-loaded RTI. So you can uh, do front-loaded RTI, but we won't pay for it here at the Department of Labor. USDOL does allow for front-loaded RTI within an apprenticeship program, but here at the Department of Labor, we are looking to fund RTI programs that are attached to somebody who's already employed and earning an income of a minimum of $17 per hour. Those are the requirements of the Gaines program. That first bullet under development sustainability within the FAQ document that you'll receive from us, you'll see a link to USDOL's website where you'll find a list of the apprenticeable occupations if you wanted to look there and find any additional information. There's a whole bunch of links within that FAQ document that will provide you after this presentation. So you'll have a lot of information that you can read through and utilize for your preparation for your application within that frequently asked questions document. So just wanted to make sure I shared that additional information.
Okay, highlights. You will see throughout the notice of grant opportunity various spots where we indicate greater weight will be given. These items are development or expand our registered apprenticeship opportunities for the greatest amount of individuals, demonstrate high quality RTI and OJT strategies, and perform adequate compensation for enrollees. Programs with larger enrollment or small businesses with fewer than 50 employees will be viewed favorably upon. You can find that in the NGO on pages 11, 13, and 14. That you seek to train new hires over incumbent worker apprenticeship program, page 11. Detail the partnership with RTI providers and administer RTI, structure the OJT program, provide progressive compensation structures for apprentices, the length of apprenticeship program, and successfully receive USDOL program status, page 13. Demonstrate a viable strategy to recruit apprentices in one or more of the targeted populations outlined in the NGO on page 12, adequately address the cost structure and indicate the level of non-state funded investments, including other sources of funding, page 14 and 15, demonstrate reasonable RTI and OJT costs, which provide quality training at a low ratio per individual apprentice, page 15, and provides specific and measurable outcomes that align with the NGO and sponsor goals or objectives on page 13 and 14.
Yeah, I think it's important to ensure that you understand that although the grant allows for you to budget at a maximum cost per participant of $12,000, if your budget comes across as unnecessary or having unnecessary costs, um, ultimately increasing the cost per participant in a way that doesn't necessarily benefit the participants, that can be looked at unfavorably by panel members when they're reviewing your applications. So definitely make sure that you're concentrating on providing them with services, providing your apprentices with services that are going to be beneficial, and that you explain how those benefits are going to um, how those things are going to benefit your participants within your applications, because those things are going to be key to a panel member or a reader of your application when they're scoring it, and their understanding of exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, next we're going to review the application process. Okay, first steps. If you are considering applying for the Gaines grant, here are some of the steps that need to be completed. 1, make sure that you're eligible to apply for Gaines by checking the list on pages 9 and 10 of the NGO. 2, the authorized official in your organization and other staff who may be working on the grant should complete a registration in IGX. We'll get more into depth with that process later on, but just know that the authorized official for purposes of this grant is the individual in your organization who has the ability to sign contracts, and that's on page 16. The third, your authorized official submits a letter of intent to apply for the gains via email. We're including a sample of the template on page 22, and we're also going to review that with you a little bit later in this presentation. That template must also contain the email address of where to send. That template also contains, I'm sorry, where address of where you should send the letter, email address. We ask for the letter of intent because it provides our team with not only the important contact information, but also a sneak peek at your anticipated proposal. After we receive the letter of intent and verify that you are registered in IGX, we will approve your organization's access to IGX and the gains application. You will then receive an email from our team that will confirm your access, and you will be provided with a user guide to help you navigate the application process. Two important items that your organization should take care of right away is obtaining a tax clearance certificate and registering as a vendor with NJ Start. The tax clearance certificate is a letter obtained from New Jersey Division of Taxation that certifies that your organization has no outstanding liabilities with the state of New Jersey. This document can be requested through an electronic portal, employer portal, and sometimes can take a few days or weeks to receive. That is why we recommend completing this task early on in the application. We included a hyperlink for more information on page 18 and 23. Next would be registering with the NJ Start. Registering with NJ Start establishes a vendor account profile, which is used to determine where the grant reimbursement payments will be sent if you are awarded a contract. If you already have an NJ Star account, you do not need to re-register. And again, we've added a hyperlink for the New Jersey Start to this or in the NGO on page 23.
Just for additional emphasis, please don't wait. If you're going to apply for this grant or any other grant with the state of New Jersey, a tax clearance certificate is necessary for any of those grants. It is a state law that one is provided and and given to the organization that is providing the funds. So please get that process started right away. Do not wait, because we've had people that can get them in a day or two, and we've had people that can't get them for 3 or 4 months. It depends on your organization. Sometimes it depends on the way your taxes have been done as an organization. I promise you, you don't want to be that applicant who does all this work, submits an application, and isn't eligible because they haven't gotten their tax clearance certificate. It's a lot of work and a lot of time and effort on your side for nothing if you can't get your application even to panel. And I'll be honest with you, we are starting to become more and more strict on when we need to get those tax clearance certificates in hand. We should have it by application time. That is the way it's required. But I promise you, we will not give you very much additional time if you can't get it in by then, especially since we've given you ample time in this application process time frame to get it completed. As Al said, if you know your organization is already registered with NJ Start, that is fine. But what I would suggest you do is check and make sure that your registration, your vendor location is active within NJ Start to make sure that there isn't anything that needs to be completed on your side in order to activate it. Sometimes if it's gone dormant, it's been sitting for a while, they've changed some things at Treasury and they may require you to do some additional paperwork or provide them with something. Um, Obviously, it's not as necessary that you have that done by the time of application, but it's definitely a good idea to start the process and look into those types of things.
Okay, here is a sample of the letter of intent. It is included in the NGO. We're putting a snapshot here. Please use this template exactly as it is here. It's very important just to keep a standard so everybody's providing the same information. Anything further on that, Bill?
Nope.
Nope.
We provide it here just to show it to you. It's on page 22 of the NGO. You can copy and paste it out of the NGO. Um, or you could retype it if you wanted to. It has to be on your organization's letterhead. So that's a piece that you have to make sure you include. But beyond that, you'll copy and paste the language that's here and just provide us with the details that are in the middle of the page. There's some things within parentheses that are bolded then and italicized that you need to provide, and then there's also some details about your organization that need to be provided below that. And the final piece is that a signature is provided by your authorized official, and then it's dated and submitted to the apprenticeship unit at dol.nj.gov email address. I also entered this email address into the chat in case that can be used or help you guys in any way um, when it comes to getting your letters of intent completed and submitted to us.
Okay, next are the proposal components. These are required documents for your application. Some of these documents are in the form of data that you're going to enter into the system, and others are upload, and we're about to cover that now. On the applicant information page, you will indicate a point of contact for purposes of the grant and provide contact information for your organization. On the counties to serve page, you will indicate which counties in New Jersey you plan to serve through the Gaines grant. On the previous funding page, you will tell us about any past grants your organization received from the New Jersey Department of Labor within the past 3 years. On the employer sponsor page, you will indicate who the sponsor is for your program and what organizations you will partner with for the Gaines grant. If awarded, you will be able to continue to add partners to this page throughout your contract, but be advised that we do check each of them to make sure that they are cleared of tax liabilities as well. So that we are to do that, so we need each partner provide their federal identification number. The Gains deliverable page will ask you to outline the number of individuals you plan to serve and the occupations your grant will cover. As a reminder, only occupations from USDOL principal occupations can be part of the Gains grant. We also ask on this page that you list any of the targeted populations you plan to recruit from, if applicable, to your proposal. Now, the next 5 documents that are listed will be uploaded into IGX. The tax clearance certificate, which we've already talked about, but there's 4 additional items. The program narrative, the executive summary, the implementation plan, and the program sustainability plan will be discussed in greater detail in the next few slides. And then the budget summary and details encompass multiple pages in IGX divided into categories. Those sections are personnel cost, non-personnel cost, RTI related technical instruction cost, OJT on the job training wage reimbursement costs. Depending on your proposal and funding needs, you will add line items on each of those pages under the appropriate category. When you are finished, all of the figures will display on the cost summary page to give you an overall total and the total of each category. Please also note administrative costs have a maximum capacity of 10% of the overall grant request. This calculation will appear on the cost summary page as well. Lastly, there is a miscellaneous attachment page. This page is not required. It's reserved for any additional documentation that you may want to add to help strengthen your application. Next. As mentioned, we will look closer into required documents for the Gaines grant. The first item is the executive summary. This document should describe your plan and process, including description of your organization, past New Jersey Department of Labor funding, if applicable, the occupations included in your proposal. Again, they must be from the USDOL principal occupation list, the anticipated number of apprentices, the benefits of the registered apprenticeship to your organization and the apprentices benefit, the projected career pathway, and any certifications, licenses, or college credits that the apprentice will earn. The second required document is a program narrative. This document should describe how your proposal aligns with the mission, goals, and objectives of the Gaines grant and include a few different elements. First, we encourage partnerships with your local one-stop operating systems. So if you do have that connection, please include that information. Second, you should indicate the anticipated target population for recruitment, including numerical projections. Third, you should provide a statement of need that clearly illustrates the hiring need for individuals in your occupational area of focus. You should also describe the capacity and commitment of your organization as a whole to support the program, including descriptions of the resources that are available. And lastly, if you have experience working on similar grants or programs, please also include a description of your past performance with outcome data for the most recent year. Note applicants with prior unsatisfactory performance may not be funded with fiscal year 2014 or 24 funding. Sorry, people. Okay, in-depth looked at the proposal. The third document required is the implementation plan. This document should describe your comprehensive program plan and how that plan will be implemented over the 18-month contract. This must include a breakdown of customer flow and an outline of case management services. Things to include in your summary of expected outcomes meaning timeline for your program to receive approval from the USDOL, the number of expected apprentices hires, anticipated salary information, and your planned success as a result of the grant. We also want to include an outcome timeline that describes the anticipated program development, benchmarks, and milestones, target populations of new program registration, and when apprentices will be hired. Here is where you also want to mention if you have contacted with the USDOL to start the registration process and where specifically you are in finalizing the approval. The final document required is a sustainability plan. The sustainability plan should describe your organization's strategy for long-term success absent the grant funding. Next, evaluation criteria. All applications are considered new applications and will be evaluated based on quality, comprehensiveness, completeness, accuracy, and appropriateness to the NGO. This is a competitive process and applications are reviewed by a selection committee using pre-established set of requirements.
Okay, and now it's going to come back to me because we're going to present to you some information on how to get registered within our IGX database, which is where we um, provide access to our applications. This is what Al was talking about when he was speaking about your authorized official being the person who can sign off on your contracts, having to be registered within this database. Um, and this is the beginning process for becoming eligible to apply for our grant. For those of you who have already applied for our grant or other grants with the Department of Labor, you've probably already registered in this IGX database. You can submit your letter of intent without re-registering, but what we suggest you do is submit the letter of intent and we'll let you know if we can find your organization or if we have to have you go in and re-register. Sometimes you might have registered in older versions of the database and your data may not have come over to the new database. Um, whether it be based on when your registration was created or how old the database was that your information was captured in. It also could have to be reactivated because if you haven't done anything in a certain amount of time, the system will automatically inactivate your user account within the database. So you can submit your letters of intent and we can take a look into that and see whether or not we need to reactivate you or if you need to re-register at that time. But for those of you who have never applied for a grant with the Department of Labor or any other state agency, and you know that you've never been registered in the IGX database, those authorized officials would have to go to the IGX website, which is https://njdol.intelligrants.com. Once you're there, you'll click the new user button at the bottom under login, and it'll bring up the new user registration that you see here on the right. You got to provide all the information asked for here. Once you've done that and enter in that little area where we see it circled, gains, GAINS, so that it's easy for us to find your application, you'll click the register button and it'll automatically submit your application for registration. This does not give you access to IGX. This just gives us the ability to go in and approve your access into IGX. We will only approve your access in IGX once you've submitted your letter of intent to us and we go looking for your application. Um, so, those two steps do have to be done simultaneously. If they're not done simultaneously, or if the letter of intent's not done before this, we won't be able to find you in the database, and we won't go looking for you. Now, if you've already registered and you need us to add additional users to your organization, you can have them register the same way. Email us and we'll go in and we'll add them to your organization and to your application if that's necessary. But that's something that ultimately may be done at a later time. It might not be done initially for your application process. For those of you who already registered, you can come to this same web address, njdol.intelligrants.com, enter your username and password, and click the login button. You don't have to re-register as a new user. That's what this page is talking about. It's just once you get your approval of your registration, which will be done in an email format from us, uh, you would then go back to the web address and type in the username and password for that of which you've created. What we'll do upon giving you access to the application is we'll send you a user guide on how to do all of what I'm going to talk to you about right now, but we're going to go over it a little bit so that you know how to find the application once we give you access. So you'll submit your letter of intent to us. We'll approve your user if you had to register as a new user in IGX. We'll also approve your access to the database. We'll send you a user guide, which is a step-by-step process for completing the application. And these parts here are part of that user guide. The first step is logging into the database, and it will bring you to your dashboard page, which is what you see here. On the right hand side of your dashboard page, you're going to see a section called My Opportunities. You'll click on the filter button and it'll open up the filter options. What you'll want to choose is the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development as the drop down under provider, and type in the word gains in name and then click search. Once you click search under My Opportunities at the bottom here, the Growing Apprenticeship in Non-Traditional Sectors application for 2024 round 2 will become available there. You can click on that hyperlink, which is under name, and it will automatically bring you to this I agree page. This is just some basic descriptions of the gains grant. Once you're ready to go and you are ready to start your application, you'll click agree and it will create your application. Once you click agree, it's also going to bring you into your application. If for any reason after you've created your application, you need to go out and come back in and complete your application at a later time, you can absolutely do that. When you log out of the system and log back into the system, it'll bring you to your dashboard page as you see here on the right, and it'll be your application, since it's been started, will be under My Tasks. You can open it by just clicking on the name of your application underneath name. Or if for some reason you open this application, it's not under My Tasks, you can search for it by using the search button at the top and going to either My Documents or Recent Documents. But once you get into the application itself, this is what the application looks like. As you can see, there are many pages that need to be completed. A lot of them are stuff that we just went over and discussed on these previous slides. But initially it'll bring you to a document landing page, which is just a page that talks about more of your organization. The first page you'll want to start with is applicant information. You'll complete each of these pages, and once you do, it'll put a check mark in the boxes next to it when they've been completed, and then you'll move on to the next next page. You can complete them in any order in which you wish to, so you do not have to do them in order. You can go back and forth from page to page. Know that if you're on a page and you make an error on a page, or you leave something incomplete, it will put what's called put an exclamation point in that box instead of a check mark. That will remind you that you need to go back to that page and make sure you complete it, if you haven't completed it yet. Once you've finished all of the pages and you're ready to complete your application, you're going to scroll down on the left-hand side in that same row where you saw the application pages to a section that says Tools at the top. Under Tools, you'll find a document called Document Validation. You'll click on that and it'll open up and tell you if there are any errors on any of the pages that you have completed within the application. If there are, you'll have to go back to each of those pages and correct the errors before you can submit your application. Once you've completed all of the document validation and there are no more errors showing up when you click on document validation, you can scroll all the way to the bottom under status options and click the status of application submitted. This will submit your application to the Office of Apprenticeship and Work-Based Learning for our review, and it'll move you forward in the process for being considered for funding. Once you click application submitted, you'll have to click the OK button to ensure that it's submitted to us. If for some reason at that time you said, oh, wait, I want to go back and check this page, you can click cancel and it'll allow you to go back and make changes. Once you've clicked OK, though, it does submit your application. You can confirm if you want to in email the apprenticeship unit at dol.nj.gov email address, and we'll confirm that the application has been submitted. But know if under status options, the only option listed there is application canceled, that your application has been submitted. Please don't click application canceled. A lot of times people think that when it says status options application canceled underneath it, that means that your application has been canceled. It has not been canceled. It means that's the only status available for you to change it to. So by clicking on it, you will cancel your application. We can fix it if it happens, so don't get too worried, but ultimately just know if you've clicked application submitted and okay, your application has been submitted. You can once again email us for confirmation if that's necessary, or you could go to your document landing page, which under tools at the top, you'll see it says landing page, and you'll look under status and it should say application submitted under status. If you see that, then you'll know that your application was submitted to us appropriately. Some important dates for you to keep in mind when it comes to the next steps are March 28th. By noon on March 28th, we ask that all letter of intents be submitted to the Office of Apprenticeship for approval and access to the application. My suggestion is that you please don't wait until the last second to submit your letter of intent. I also suggest that you don't wait till the last second to start your application. The due date for your application is noon, April 5th, which is a Friday. And I will tell you that we will most likely not approve any extensions whatsoever. Everybody is given the exact same due dates for these documents, and we hope and ask that you follow them to ensure the competitiveness of the grant, and so that we're not giving others opportunities that we're not giving to you or to other organizations. So just know that these due dates are very strict. We do try to hold you accountable for your applications to make sure that if you can't get the application process right, what would make us believe you can get the grant process right? I can promise you they're both equally difficult, but the fact of the matter is the grant process has funding attached to it where the application process does not. So we are looking to ensure that we are setting you up for the possibility of success within the grant. And part of that is being able to follow the rules and get your application submitted on time and get all the documents in place that you need to get in place beforehand. So please work your best to get your LOIs in as soon as you possibly can, get your letters of intent approved by us and access to the application. Get your application started as soon as you can and completed as soon as you can. Just because you have till noon on April 5th doesn't mean you should wait till 11 a.m. on April 5th to submit the application. You always could have technology issues or run into a problem and you need to reach out to us. We're a small team. There's a lot of people that are interested in applying for our grants. It may be difficult for us to get back in touch with you in a short period of time. So I want to ensure that you don't set yourself up for failure. So please, um, if you can, ensure to the best of your ability that you get your letters of intent submitted and your applications started and submitted on time and as soon as you possibly can. Going along with that, I would suggest that you get your tax clearance certificates as soon as you can as well. Final decisions on awards will be communicated to the applicants usually within 45 days of the due date of the application. So once these applications are submitted and approved, we have to then hold a panel where all your applications are read and scored based on our application process. Those scores are then create a recommendation that we utilize in order to get approval for the grantees. And once that's completed, then we have to send out to those awardees what we call a notice of award, which is basically notification that you were awarded and put in place a contract. That all has to happen in a short period of time. So we say 45 days. Sometimes it might take a couple extra days, but ultimately 45 days is what we're shooting for. This is some contact information for us within the New Jersey Office of Apprenticeship. James Manning is the Assistant Director of our Office of Apprenticeship Work-Based Learning. Uh, Myself, Bill Sarbuck, I am the supervisor of these grants on the contract administrator. And that's my email address and phone number if you need to reach out to me for anything. And for any other inquiries, you can reach out to the apprenticeship unit at dol.nj.gov email address. Uh, I would say to you, if you go to the apprenticeship unit at dol.nj.gov email address, it comes to me as well. And it will also go to the rest of the staff within the team. So we can get you an answer usually quicker that way, but feel free to reach out to any of us if need be. Okay, so with all that information, I know it's a lot and I know we went over everything rather quickly. Um, At this time, we want to open it up for questions. I know we have a couple in the chat, not much, but if you have any questions, please add them to the chat. If for some reason you feel it better to be able to ask your question verbally, raise your hand and we'll unlock your access to be able to speak, because it seems like the way this one was set up, it locked all of your ability to turn your mic on. So I can unlock that for you if that comes to play. So please, what I'll do now is I'll go through the chat and answer the questions that are in there. Like I said, if anybody has any questions they want to ask verbally, please raise your hand. It can be done at the top of the screen under raise, and you'll see a little hand above it. And that will allow for us to unlock your microphone and allow for you to ask your question verbally. Okay, Asha asks, we started the request 2 weeks ago and there was an error in how we can access the tax clearance certificate. We're still waiting to get that fixed. Yes, see, that's exactly what I was talking about, Asha. Sometimes people run into issues. I'll also tell you that taxation, this is the busy time of year for them. I don't suggest that you wait if you need to get in touch with them to get things accomplished, because you're definitely going to be on the back burner for all of you. So, um, as far as what they're going to think is a priority, and we don't have any ability to get them work any faster. You guys really are going to have the same ability to get something from them as we do. So reach out to taxation and try and get those tax clearance certificates back as soon as you can. We're a national registered apprenticeship program that works with New Jersey businesses. We do not have a business address in New Jersey. Will that be an issue? So you need to have a physical location here in New Jersey in order to be eligible for gains. So you have to have an address here, yes, in order to be eligible for the gains grant. It is a requirement of gains. Um, it's state tax dollars being used for our gains program. So the requirement is that you have a presence, a physical presence here in order to be a grantee. All the employers that you place these individuals with are New Jersey based employers, and all the participants are New Jersey based residents. So hopefully that helps. For planning purposes, should we expect the contract period to start from June 1st? Somewhere around there, Asha. Yes, I would say anywhere from June 1st to June 15th. I would think June 1st is a very good good guess, though, and it would be an 18-month grant program. Um, Sometimes it's easier to just base your application on 18 months rather than saying specific timeframes, but that's up to you. If we submitted a letter of intent for another NJDOL program recently, will access to all grant programs be released, or do we need to submit another letter of intent specifically for gains to get access to this application? It's a great question, Ellen. You do need to submit a separate letter of intent. Not all of our grant areas speak all that easily. We are all doing things kind of on our own. So yes, a separate letter of intent is necessary for all grant applications. So it doesn't matter whether it's with us or anybody else. If you submit a letter of intent to us or to any of the other grant programs, you always need to submit a new letter of intent for the new grant program that you're interested in applying for. I see Asha has raised her hand. Let me see if okay, Asha, you just have to unmute yourself and then you should be able to ask your question. I can unmute you. Yeah, I gave you the ability that at the top of your screen, you should see a microphone with a line through it. If you click that, it should unmute you. You can also hit Control Shift M and it might unmute you. Can you try Control Shift and M and see if that works, Asha? Because I've unmuted you. Check one more thing. All right, now try and unmute Asha.
Hi, William.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you. Thanks for
You too.
unmuting me.
No
My
problem.
question was related back to the address. We do pay taxes in New Jersey. We have employees there. We work with employers there, but we used our New York address on that registration, and that's how we're
Mhm.
registered with the tax office. Will that be a problem?
We we require, and it actually says within the notice of grant opportunity, a physical location within the state in order for you to be an eligible applicant for gains. Um, what I would suggest you do is email me after this
Okay.
with the direct information of exactly what you have. I can bring it to my assistant director and see what he says, but I'll be honest with you, we've been pretty strict about that rule in the past,
Okay.
mainly for the purposes of it just sticking to the requirements of state funded programs, so I would ask that you send that to me and I can give you a better answer after speaking with him, just in case it's specifically different than what I'm saying right now. But I'll be honest with you, it usually requires some form of a physical address in the state of New Jersey.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay, no
I
problem.
appreciate it.
Not a problem. Okay, do we have any other questions? I know in the chat I don't see anything else. Um, does anybody else want to raise their hand and I can unmute them? Doesn't seem to be as easy as I thought, but I can do it. Quiet group, huh? I guess that just means we did a great job presenting this information. Well, just so you all know, we will do a second session of this technical assistance workshop. So if anybody's interested in attending that second session with additional questions, feel free to register for that. The registration for it is within the notice of grant opportunity. You can see that as well. Jeff, at the onset, you indicated that we will receive a link and the slideshow via email. Yes, Jeff, as long as you registered for this session to attend, we have all your email addresses. We'll email that out after we're done. Like it takes me a day or so to get this recording. We can't share the Teams recording, which is what we actually do. We actually create a YouTube video of the Teams recording. So we will get that completed today and then get the FAQ updated. At the back of the FAQ, on the very bottom of the FAQ document that you receive, you'll see a link to the video, and that's where you'll be able to see the video. But we'll also email you the PowerPoint slides. We'll email you the contact information for USDOL based on county. So if you're interested in reaching out to their apprenticeship technical assistants, the people, they're broken down by county based on where you reside. So you can reach out to them and they'll help you with the process of getting your registered apprenticeship program started and approved. We'll provide you with the FAQ, as I said before, which answers a lot of questions about the NGO. It'll also have the link to this video, and we'll provide you with the NGO itself. So we'll give you all of that shortly, probably I'd say by tomorrow. Will you be emailing the slides? Yes, Shirley. That's the same question. You said that already. Thank you. JT, is there an estimate of the probability for funding? How many applicants versus how many are funded? So JT, there really is no direct answer to that because ultimately it depends on the quality of the applications that get submitted. Last round, as I said at the beginning, we had 38 applications submitted. We funded 13, but that was mainly because we ran out of funds. We had $5 million to award, and we awarded all 5 million in 13. So we had 2 grantees who actually passed who would have been funded, but because we ran out of funding, we weren't able to fund them. So I would say to you, um, it depends on how much all the applicants are asking for and whether or not their applications are strong enough. What I usually suggest is that you put together the strongest application you possibly can that provides with as much detail and as much emphasis on exactly what it is you're looking to accomplish, and to give yourself the best opportunity to be funded over others. We have 6 million available this round where we only had 5 million available in the first round. So we should have plenty of money available to meet the needs of applicants this round, as long as we get strong enough applications. Um, I will say to you, in my tenure here within this Office of Apprenticeship, this was the first round. The first round of gains was the first time where we had more passing applicants than we had funding available. Usually we have additional funds available, just not enough good applications. So it really depends on the applications that are submitted and them meeting the requirements of the notice of grant opportunity. I would think we'll be back in that world where we should have plenty of funds available. So if you submit a good application, you should be able to have a good opportunity at receiving funds. Asha, you found the FY19 awardees listed online. Are the round 1 awardees listed yet? No, we don't list all of our awardees online necessarily, but if anybody's interested, you could reach out to us at apprenticeshipunit@dol.nj.gov, and we can forward to you a directory that we have for the first round applicants. Like I said, there was 13 of them. Not sure exactly how that would benefit you specifically for this grant, but ultimately we can definitely provide you with the directory to any of them. If anybody's interested, just reach out. Any other questions from anybody? Yep. Yeah. So sometime, I mean, we have some grantees that hopefully this helps to add a little bit of clarity for you, Asha. Some of our grantees ask for the full 12,000 and some of them don't ask for anywhere near that amount. The directory is not going to tell you how much was awarded to them or how many people they are serving. Specifically, it just gives you contact information for them because that's what we kind of share with the public. Um, it's not that we're hiding anything when it comes to how much we've awarded to any of the agencies. We just don't necessarily have any of that detail readily available. We could, if you had any questions specifically about certain organizations, we could provide you with it. But yes, we don't. What you saw for that FY19 posting online, it was probably done for a specific reason, but it's not something that's done every fiscal year. Unfortunately, we haven't posted that since then. You might be able to find it in if sometimes you look up press releases that have been provided from the department, and sometimes we include that information in the press releases when we award contracts. I don't believe the press release for round one has gone out yet, though, just so you know. But I do anticipate it coming out within the next, I would say, the next few weeks. Any other questions? Okay, so as I said earlier, we appreciate all your time and for you being here to listen to us go through all of this information. Please take advantage of the fact that we had this early in the process, this technical assistance workshop. Get your application started, your letters of intent submitted. Hopefully we can help you to get your applications awarded and to give you guys the opportunities to meet the requirements of the Gaines program. Let me see something. I got it. Ellen is asking if any community colleges were funded. I don't have my lists in front of me of who was funded. Al, do you have? Can you just check the Of course, I have my PACE one in front of you, but not my Gaines. I believe we had one or two actually, though. I believe Bergen and County College of Morris were recipients of round one. But yes, we've definitely had community colleges funded in the past, Alan, including New Jersey Community College Consortium has been a recipient of Gaines funds in the past. County College of Morris and Bergen Community College, right? Al? Oh, might be Pace. Okay. So then it looks like County College of Morris was a recipient of round one, Ellen, if that helps. We've also funded with some state universities, specifically Rutgers University, as well as Princeton University. It's actually more of the Princeton Plasma area of Princeton University. See someone's typing. Just want to give them the opportunity. Okay, looks like everybody has asked all of their questions. Just know that this type of setting is the best place in order for me to be able to answer questions, just so you're aware. Because of the competitive nature of the grant opportunity, I can't necessarily answer any specific questions that you may have that would directly relate to your program as by itself. But I can, in sessions like this, provide a little more detail because we're providing it to everybody all at once. It's also going to be shared publicly on YouTube through the website. So, it allows for us to kind of answer questions and provide additional details that I can't do one-on-one during a conversation. So if you have questions that are specific to your application, feel free to reach out and we can try and answer them to the best of our abilities. But due to the competitive nature, I may not be able to answer those questions. As far as if you want to bring those questions to the second session of this TA, I may be able to answer those questions a little more freely, but I can't necessarily answer all questions no matter what. But otherwise, thank you all very much for your time. Good luck with your applications, and we look forward to working more closely with all of you in the future. Okay? Take care, everybody.